Hello? Wait, for some reason I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Hello, hello.
Now I can hear you. Yeah. Hey man,
Hello, sir.
welcome. How are you?
I'm fine. What about you?
I mean, it's okay. I would say COVID-19 stole my job, but it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, I saw that you tweeted about.
Yeah. Like sadly, we couldn't continue with EU Master because I would have loved to win the whole goddamn thing. I think the team that we had and the roster was by far good enough to reach finals for sure.
Yeah, I thought that you'll win the EU Master, but I don't know what happened. Maybe
hmm
some choke or.
I think choke,
Okay.
mostly choke. Yeah, because we didn't get through the groups. Okay,
And
so
it's it.
let's start with the meeting. Yeah,
Okay.
I want to show you what methods there are, what uh what values there are in the coaching sessions I would provide. But first, we have to talk about some things that are out of a reach, like out of reach for a coach. Some intangible things that no matter who you're gonna book, you can book Coma or you can book Grabs or even Dylan Falco. If you're not changing certain habits, there's no benefit. You would just waste your money. So I will like this meeting will probably go from now until let's say half past or something like this. Probably like 20 minutes, maximum 30 minutes, okay?
Okay.
So point number 1. Can you give me your OPGG? We will do a quick analysis and I want to show you the main difference between you compared to someone who is on elite level. Like elite level talking about someone who is playing in LEC already or someone who is playing in the first 3 ranks in
Okay.
LEC.
I can do it, but I mean, I had 2 months break, and
Yeah,
I mean,
it's okay.
I had 1 month that when I was kind of having fun, and then second one when I wanted to just quit and stuff like this.
Yeah.
But then I said that I already wasted too much time on the league, so
Yeah. Is this the only account you're using or do you have multiple?
like I have.
Give me all of your accounts.
Oh,
So there was a time where you have been playing in a team, right? And where you were
yeah,
competing, right? It's like
yes,
2 months ago, probably. Roughly
yeah,
like
yeah,
2 months ago, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, then I will take the whole amount from 1 month as a reference, starting with the game from Rakan. So I will turn on the screen share. Hopefully there won't be any problems with the quality.
Okay.
If there's problems with the quality, you can still go on my stream and then see everything there, okay?
Hmm.
This one is one, then M. Ratajkowski is one, Mr. JD is the other one, right?
Yeah, I mean this one is just for testing limits and stuff like this.
Okay, then let me add a sticky note here. So I will count the one from 2 months, so starting with the Lucian game. So those are 4 games. Even the ones on off-roll, we will count, okay?
Okay, okay.
So, and then from here, from the Rakan game, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 22, 23, 24, 30, 31, 32, 38, 39, 40. Oh, it's good. It's a good amount of number of games. 41, 46, 47, 48, 50, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 68, 69. Wow, nice. 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 80, 88, 89, 90. Wow. hundreds. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 20. You actually play an insane amount of games in 1 month.
I'll
Maybe,
try.
maybe that was the wrong approach. 150, 140, 155. I would end up here counting, to be
Yeah,
honest.
it's fine.
So the main point I was trying to show, but for you actually it's completely opposite. You're playing more games than the usual. So if I would compare to numbers that I have from players that were playing in Schalke, for example, yeah, we could do
Mhm.
this for all of the players that have been playing there. But for one reference, I would just use Nukes a lot. Okay, in one
Okay.
month, you were playing roundabout. If I if I put these numbers together, it was something like this: 159 games, right?
Mhm.
So that is roughly like that's a pretty good number. Not gonna lie. We would have to divide this by 4 because there's 4 weeks, right? To see
Yeah,
how
yeah.
many games you would play per week, right?
Mhm.
So let's say you play around about 40 games per week, right?
Yes.
Just to show you the main difference. That is already a really good number. Not gonna lie. I expected much less. But the main difference between a person like Caps, for example, or a person like Upset, or even Perks, when they are in season, they would be playing this amount of games. This is Nukes, for example, and you know Nukes is currently, I think he's still sitting at 1K LP on 2 accounts, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So he's playing from the 1st January of 2020 to the 1st February, 352 games. So if I check the week, how much he would play in a week, it's 91 games. 91 games a week.
That's kind
And
of a lot.
yeah, that's kind of a lot. And then now let's look at the difference if he's going into the next month. Let's see if he drops some games, amount of games. There was only a drop of like 5 or 7 games. And you have to understand that at the same time he's still playing 5 games of scrims every day, right? With
Yeah,
one off day.
that's true.
Yeah. And now until the end of the competition, there's only a drop of 70 games, which
And
means
it's
that
only because there is like no tournament and stuff, something like that, right?
I mean, yeah, we were close before EU Masters, so it was at the end of the season. We were already rank
Yeah.
1. We were locked in for EU Masters. He can drop some games. It's fine. It's actually much better if you're already that's the same concept that G2 is doing. If you're already in playoffs, you don't need to hard grind anymore. It's much better to save your energy for the finals because once you're going back into playoffs, then you need to grind again. You can have a short off time. That's much smarter, and it's always communicated with management. So you can see the main difference, and that's something coaching cannot give you, is the difference how many games you play compared to an actual pro. So the guys that are playing on 1K LP, they're playing twice as much as you are doing.
No, I that's the reason. I mean, they have like 4 accounts, maybe more.
Yeah, Nukes has only 2 accounts. He doesn't even have secret accounts. I know Caps has secret accounts, at least 3 accounts, as far as I know. So
Oh.
the main difference that these players are doing, that you are not doing, they are playing twice as much. That's number one. And coaching can't give you that.
Mhm.
Number two, we start with the programs that they are using. Do you have Wolf Trainer? Or did you ever
I have,
have?
I have.
Yeah, okay, perfect, perfect. Then all you need to do is you need to learn to use this after every game. And it's not about what you are doing like after the game that is getting you better. It is what you are doing consistently over a week. So let's say you have 2 sticky notes. One you set up like this. You try to assess yourself. So you're trying to be honest to yourself, or you can even better. You do this with a coach who is giving you analysis on where your weaknesses are. So let's say you're an ADC. You obviously want to look at your CS. You obviously want to look at positioning in team fights. You want to look at damage per minute. Yeah. Then you want to look
Mhm.
at your power spikes. or at your backs, because I know that some, or resets, sorry, some ADCs tend to do really weird resets when, let's say as an example, on Zarya it's just much better to have a BF on a first reset. You are almost always guaranteed to win the laning phase if you have a BF and your opponent only has like pickaxe, right? But some
Mhm.
tend to go for the 1.1k item. I forgot the name. Voice Sense Reaver.
Uh,
That, that
yeah, the Warhammer or something
Yeah,
like
the
that.
Warhammer. That was a long time like a problem. Some Varus players, for example, they tended to go recurve bow over Cutlass, even though the other one was a much better back. So things like this. This would be for an ADC. You would put yourself in a situation where you look at yourself. Okay, where's my main weakness? Let's do it for a supporter. Okay, for a
Mhm.
supporter, it would also be resets. It would be warding or vision. It would be roaming or using roaming windows. And I think in case you want to do that, it would be leading slash shot calling. But there it can only be done with a coach and with recording of your scrims. Did I forget one? Like the roaming windows can also be done with with your jungler together. Like if you have a duo mate and your jungle and support, you should do these things together with him. And the other one I can't think of yet. The other one is like champion specific. Like for example, when you're playing a fresh, how many times did you fuck up not playing for the lantern? How many times were you too far up? You know, these things and
Mhm.
stuff like this. So yeah, you would set yourself goals and you would look on it each day one by one. So let's say you would set up a week. You would give yourself on day one, on Monday, every Monday, you will only look in all the replays that you have been gathering on Monday, or that you have been playing on Monday. You would only look for these times where you fuck up resets. And then on Tuesday, you would only look at situations where, oh, here I just waste my wards. I should not use my wards on top side. Drake is coming up in 20 seconds. I should be on bot side. Why am I setting up vision on top side? You would check all of these depending on the day. Then on Wednesday, roaming windows, and so on, and then it would rinse and
Mhm.
repeat. At the end of the week, you would check your sticky notes and you would check, okay, how many times did I do mistakes? You would count the amount of times where you did it. So you would see over week by week, there's a decline in the amount of mistakes you're doing. Why is that so? Because the brain is functioning like this, that over a certain time period, let's say over a month, 4 weeks, you can see already an increase of 50% less mistakes if you're doing a self-assessment like this. And like the best thing is, you don't need a coach to do that, to like who is doing that for you. All you need is yourself. The main thing that I hate when I look at other coaches or when I see coaching sessions is that the first thing they will do, they will jump with you into a replay and they will waste your time, because this is not what coaching is about. Number two, what I will do, or what good coaches can do, they will first go with you into a presentation. They will check, how is your current state? Like, did you already have certain concepts in place that you understand? What's your current level of knowledge? How can you set up dives early, for example? Or do you know the terms, priority, and these things, Do you
Yeah, yeah,
understand tempo,
yeah.
for example? Do
I
you
understand. I
understand
understand.
windows, all of these things? That is the first thing they would do and check with you. Then after, they would come up with some ideas that you can improve on. Like for ADCs, for example, the concepts of stacking waves and these things, slow pushes and these terms. If it's someone who is lower elo, I think in our case we don't need to do that. You're already your challenger, right? So it's fucking bullshit. You would waste time. There's like late game concepts, like overloading, for example, where you have solo lanes shadowing each other on site to going for a play. I think we can play this just to have a reference, okay?
Okay, okay.
I think it was somewhere later in the game where Kled would go on his sides. Let's see if I can find the situation. Okay, so here would be the first time they would be doing it, where Kled is going to side from full rise. And if someone is going on side, he would just go with the ultimate. And it was at this time where they would do it because they can't fight them. Right now, you can see that Kaiser has 4 item power spike. Meanwhile, Zaya still has 3 item power spike, right?
Mhm.
So they can't fight them. So the only way what they can do is receive mid lane somewhere here and try to go for a pick on site. That's how they have to play it. I think the next situation was later. Or was it? No, it was before that. It was for sure before that. He is doing it again. You can see it here. If I
Yeah,
fast forward.
I'm sometimes doing it with trash that I'm just covering with lantern.
Yeah, I think with Fresh you don't your main job is looking for lantern, but here you can see if someone is checking on site for where Rice is, he would just immediately use his ult. And then they would run him down and he has no chance. So that is like when they know that they can't play team fights because they have 1 item power spike less than the opponents. So they would just look to do that. That is a concept
Mhm.
from G2. It's called overloading. So one of these, for example, we would go in depth about it. We would try to understand it, and we would try to give you the tools to shot call it in a game. If you're willing to, or if you want to become a shot caller in your team, we would go over communication, pattern, and how to do it. First thing that we have to do is go outside of the game about it, go over presentation, because that is what coaching is about. It's not about getting you into a replay and then discussing some stuff that we see on screen for 30 minutes and waste your time. That's not coaching. Then after that, we would go over examples. So we would, for example, look at certain things that we can see in everyday's pro play, like something that is Mad Lions doing, for example, in one of these situations. We would go over a strategy where they are using Corki. How you can apply this in your team's game or in your team's practice, for example, or for your own competitive games. And of course, this is not solo queue. This is meant for competitive. So I would let it play now. Then we would discuss it, of course. Then afterwards, we would try to implement it for your own team. So in this situation, you can see Xerxes and I think Humanoid, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
Yeah, you know,
yeah. They would set up bot side, so they would prepare the first objective, which is Drake. They could also look to go for dives, but the main point here is that they just want to waste some waves on bot side when they are stacking it, and then at the same time completely dominating on bot side river. You can see that they have the 2 pings set up in pixel and one in the lane brush. And whenever they are trying to contest bot side, they just can't do it. The only thing that the opponents here can do is go towards top side. So these are patterns, for example. So these patterns, for example, you need to like once you have this knowledge, you can use that pretty much like non-stop if you have these champions. So here, for example, when Skana was checking on bot side river, he would not look at the time because it's 8 minutes, and at 8 minutes, Corki has his first package. So he would use the first reset for his package to secure Infernal Drake. This is a strategy, for example,
mhm.
like a pretty good one from Mad Lions, though. And after this, after we have done all of these things, where we would go over a concept or a scenario or whatever you want to improve on, we would give you goals to review for yourself. And all of this has been done without going into a replay or without going into a like review with you. And that is the coaching that can help you. Yeah, I think that is about the time that I needed to like show you like what my coaching would offer you.
That's actually so insane. I mean, as you are talking about the replay, I always have the problem.
Hmm.
I'm just watching the replay, but I'm trying to focus on so many things, so it's kind of useless for me. So it gave
Yeah.
me zero impact.
So try to do when you're doing it for yourself, because I highly recommend not going on Twitter, not looking for a coach who is doing that, because you will just pay way too much money for what it's not worth it. You can do it yourself. You check either competitive games or scrims or your solo queues. You go through it like let's say 5 games, and you just try to check what is the biggest weakness that you have, and you can rank them. Like let's say multiple times you can see yourself fucking up resets for a certain play, or if you think, oh, here I can kill someone, I fuck up a reset intentionally, even though Drake is coming up in 45 seconds, right? You have to be honest with yourself in these situations. For these things, for example, a coach can help you, but the groundwork or the framework you have to do yourself. So you know the tool sticky notes, right? On Windows.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Use that one. Use it regularly. Use it every day. I would recommend having leak in window mode where it's not taking the whole space, and then you can set up the sticky notes like this, where you have it always on top of the screen. You can also write down some reminders and stuff like this, like if it helps you. Um, Checking wave, like for example with the roaming windows. Sometimes supports are fucking up being back on bot lane when the wave is crashing, right?
Mhm.
So opponents can look for a dive on your ADC, or he has to back off and give the wave under the turret. You don't want that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously that is for like master players or low diamond or whatever, right? Like usually supports they will be there in time on challenger. They have to be there, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So that would be one. Or for example, after first reset, did you use a roaming window with your jungler to get vision towards mid? Did you look to go towards mid and look for a level 3 gank or push out? Did you check his wave on mid? Because even as a support, you can help mid lane to push out when he has to crash the wave, right?
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah. So if you're doing that already, perfect. If not, write it on a sticky note. Look to have 1 day per week where you're only assessing this mistake. That's the way how you can improve the fastest. If you're trying to eliminate mistakes one by one. So yeah, and then the rest is just when I look at your OPGG. Let me see where I have it. Then we just have to look at the champions that you're playing. I think. Did you play Z? You didn't play Z at all, right?
Z?
Yeah, LS, the champion.
No.
Why? Why is that? It's the most broken support there was.
Wait, you mean Z? Z mid lane?
LS. Like the wait, we call this champion.
Oh, Z.
Yeah, or Z.
I
Sorry,
mean, I was trying to play him, but I don't know. I mean,
I don't see any game here.
yeah, I was playing it on another account. I mean,
Okay.
maybe on this, I don't know. But I mean, yeah, I was trying to just learn the set, but I didn't do that already.
Okay, I would highly, highly suggest that you need to learn this champion because it's really broken. Once you are hitting level 2, you can pretty much you can kill any lane. If you're flashing on the opponent and he's not flashing in time, you stun him, you use a W, you have insane damage. It's actually beyond broken.
Yeah, with the Hex Flash and the Sorcerer, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. This one is good for elo only, or into certain matchups like Braum, for example, would be
Mhm.
good. I would never blind pick Braum in this current meta, I think, when there's Zillion and others like playable.
Yeah, I mean, I was playing Zillion Senna in our team competition,
Yeah,
and then after 1 month or something like that, Fnatic just pick it in their game. So
yeah, I can
they're just
see.
scouting us.
Yeah, that's smart. Okay. I think the rest looks fine. I think, but if I check, if I would check just 5 minutes what current supports are playing, maybe there's a difference in one or two champions.
Yeah, I mean, today I was checking the Labrov like 1 hour ago.
Yeah, even this guy is playing, even though he's a top laner, he's playing Z support because this champion is just it's retarded broken, beyond broken. This champion.
Yeah, I'll try that also.
Yeah. Then they, for some reason, they reverted some nerfs to Soraka. So I
Yeah,
guess this champion is also back.
Yeah, a lot of players playing Soraka again mid and top,
Yeah.
and also the support, of course.
Seems like they are playing Omnistone now on that. Think sounds okay. Sounds good. So yeah, that is one champion for sure that you have to pick up. Like you don't get around it if you want to play competitive for
Mhm.
summer. Simp player. Yeah, another one I think right now is Tarek. I think this one was super broken as well. Especially Bravado was playing him. I think if you want
Yeah,
to look at how to play Tarek, you have to look at this guy. He's the the best the best Tarek player on the EU for sure.
yeah, we are playing duo queue together. We are playing Tariq and Zillion.
Nice. So yeah, then you understand it. Like the champion is actually also, I think, a bit retarded right now.
Yeah, I
Sort
see.
of. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
a elo hunt.
Yeah. When you were playing versus Fnatic, you always had to ban Tarek for against this guy. Always. Because they would just play it over and over. So that is like one idea, I would say. But yeah. Z for sure, 100%. The rest is fine. If there's Nautilus, there's Fresh. You have all the champions that you have to play for competitive. And if you have like so many games on them, like for example Yorakan, I think seems like he would be ready for competitive. For Nautilus, maybe there needs to be like I see that the win rates are super low. So there's either you said you took a break, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Then you probably need some time to get back into it. Yeah. All right. So yeah, then that's all we had to go over. The main point was with the amount of games that you're playing. You're just simply not playing enough. And yeah, the other things is like self-assessment.
Mic off.
Yeah, I think
Mic
as you said,
on.
the main problem was the that I'm not setting up goals properly and
Yeah,
working on it.
yeah. Like I can give you an example of how goals should look like in a team situation. You would
Mhm.
give each player a goal, like one thing that he has to focus on. In a good team, just one thing that they have to focus on the whole scrim block. And if you're doing this same concept for your own practice, you're pretty much doing the same work that you're doing in a team. If you would be a coach, you know.
Mhm.
So set yourself up one thing at a time that you have to focus on, and you will see there's an incremental increase in like knowledge and also how you look at the game. Because if you're going and queuing up, and that's the only thing you're doing, you're not actively thinking of what you're doing wrong. But if you, in the first place, set up sticky notes with goals, you will always go into the game with a certain thing in your mind. You will always think, oh, this game I will not fuck up any resets. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then when you queue up for the next game, you will go through the like for the through the game on Wolf Trainer, and you will check, okay, did I fuck up any resets here? Or this situation here, I fucked up a reset. Okay, number one, you write it down. Second situation, fucked up a reset. Okay, write it down, and so on. And after 1 or 2 weeks, you will see there's a huge decrease. And that's really simply all you have to do.
That's super nice.
Yeah.
How
And the rest is a bonus. Like the things, like the concepts that I showed you on the presentations and in these things,
Mhm.
right? All of this is knowledge that if you're booking a coach, that is something he can provide. And that's something you have to pay for. You should never pay someone for reviewing the game with you or dragging you into replay. I think that is the biggest scam I have ever seen. I'm actually always disgusted if I see that.
yes, I mean it can maybe help someone who is on low elo or something like that.
Nah, I don't think so. I think that if someone is doing that, he's just trying to make money off
Yeah,
someone's time. Like what you can do is do this one time over one scenario. Like let's say you tell the guy before, or the guy tells you before he did the framework, and he tells you, "Hey, my Baron execution really sucks." And then we would go through five or maybe six replays, but we will only look at the Baron. That is a good way. That is a
Mhm.
good way. Or he would tell you, hey, my laning phase really sucks. I think I don't understand how to trade. We would only go through the laning phase, look at like until first back, how did you trade? Then second back, how did you trade? Third back, and so on, you know? That makes sense.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Like if you're trying to learn through um, normal revision or spaced revision, you always need to look at increments of the game, never at the whole game. You will just waste your time. I will I will leave this VOD up on my on this like channel, so anyone who didn't or who couldn't be here in time to watch it, you can rewatch it anytime. So yeah. If there's anything else that you want to ask, just feel free. By the way.
I don't think so right now,
Okay.
because the main problem was, as I said, the goals.
Yeah.
I was about something, but I just wasted time in replay.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I learned when I was in Schalke, there were certain players that were really triggered when you wasted time. So you have to understand when you're looking. I think you might also want to look for coaching if there's at some point that like in your career where you think, okay, I don't want to really play anymore, but you're still you were a challenger and everything. You cannot be in a team with really good players like 1 KLP and so on and waste their time in reviews. They will really not like that. They will instantly tell you that this is a waste of time.
Mhm.
So number one thing for yourself and for your practice sake and for your time's sake, set up yourself some goals, start learning about the game, and don't waste your time by just queuing up.
Maybe I have one question
Yeah,
about the schedule. I mean, for example, I mean, Karzi and Humanit are my friends, and
yeah,
for example, Karzi is like that he plays only when he's ready. He don't want to just spam games without brain.
yeah.
But there are some players who go to schedule. For example, they play 3 games in a row, then they just review, take a break, and stuff like this.
I don't
So
think you can. I don't think it's not that black and white. You know, when you're playing, it's always like you can feel that right now you're feeling good and you're ready, then you want to play as much as possible. So you can play 6 games maybe at a time, and then you feel like okay, I'm mentally affected by one of the games, like I'm triggered or tilted. You take a break, no matter what.
mhm.
If you feel like okay, it's not affecting me, but I still need some time because right now I'm burning out a bit. You know, I'm feeling tired. You take a break. I can see like the biggest difference in some normal players and someone like Nuxalot, for example, who is consistently at 1 KLP. He knows himself that when he's not performing on the highest level, he just takes a break instantly. He's not addicted to the game, or he's not how to say, just doing it for the sake of it. He's only playing games when he's feeling that it's beneficial. So yeah, I think that is discipline. That's called discipline. Oh, he decayed, right?
Yeah, I mean, everyone is trying to DK right now.
Yeah, I think because
What?
you only get plus 14, right, and minus 20.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. I think this guy as well played an obscene amount of games, like to 80 games or something like this per week. So yeah. So for you, I only have 2 tips, or the main points. The thing with the sticky note where you set yourself goals, but then also like no offense, but you need to play twice as many games if you want to end up in LEC.
Mhm.
You just need to play way more games. So yeah, that's it. And all of this has been done without dragging you into a replay and wasting your time.
I mean, it's so sad that I know that I wasted so much time during the, I don't know, for example, 4 years.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope you're not doing that anymore.
No, I won't, definitely no.
Okay.
I
Well, then,
like
anyone who is on the stream, thank you for watching. I will end the stream. The VOD is on the channel for as long as it's possible. Have fun watching it.